I think it's really important for drag queens and mostly everyone to know about the drag history, not just in Cork but around the world. If it wasn't for the queens in the past, we wouldn't be here today. We kind of use drag queens from the past, from the 80s, 90s and even 2000s as a platform for us. Without many of the Vogue ball queens, I mightn't even be here today. So I think it's really important that we just all know what we should know.
I think like with the history of drag in Cork, I'm still now like constantly learning new things. Like when I started off, I was like, Letitia Lyston and Mia Gold are the only two drag queens that have ever been in Cork. Like that's what I thought. But that just wasn't true, and I've like learned that over the years that there actually was drag.
Yeah, so I think like, you know, when you kind of start something, whether it is like a hobby, a job or anything like that, you know, you kind of do your research on it first, you know. You always have to kind of like look at the people who were there before you to see how they got there, you know, that kind of way. So like I think it is important to kind of like know like of the queens, like not just in Cork but in Ireland, who basically kind of like started it all, who kind of like, you know, paved the way for me now to literally just come along, hop onto the scene and, you know, be like woo and not even think twice about it. So I think it is like quite important to know your knowledge about what you're doing.
It's always really nice to have like a snapshot and a caption so that people can see how far things have come. Do you know what I mean? It's like music, right? You know, if you think of a song or you listen to a song, it'll bring you back, especially if it's important to you, it'll bring you back to a certain point in time. The same thing can be said about drag and about certain acts and certain performances. So I think it's important that way to record. And it gives people an idea to, like, so you can look back and go, oh my God, look how far we've come. Look how it has actually spanned and where it has come from and where the basis of it is from, and how the future queens are actually going to base themselves on the ones that have gone before and that paved the way, you know.
But it all starts, I suppose, with the legacy of Johnny LaRue. You know, he was on the West End, he was you know, on TV shows and movies. He would have been the legacy of Cork because he was born in Cork.
So Johnny LaRue is my great granduncle on my father's side, and when I was 10, my dad took me to see my first drag show in the Everyman Palace Theatre, and I remember when he walked out on stage gasping, and he was in his mid to late 70s, and I remember going like, work. Like as a 10-year-old, like you are like, he was working every inch of the stage, and I remember that being so inspiring. Him and his mom moved away, and then he obviously like got into the army, and that's where he started his drag, you know, entertaining his friends in the army of all places. And like that was the 60s, that was highly illegal. He could have been sent to prison, and he's there starting drag in the army to entertain his friends. Like that's a queen, you know? That's why I think a lot of young queens now forget that we stand on the shoulders of giants. People have worked their asses off and people have sacrificed so much and risked their own lives for us to be able to sit here or get on stage, for us to walk down the street holding each other's hands or go on Instagram and do a makeup look. And that's why I'm so proud of him.